Minister, if you want to have a reply, sir.
Yes, Deputy Chairman, sir, I am grateful to all the honorable members who have given their valuable inputs. Honorable Shri Anand Sharma ji, Naresh Agarwal ji, Swapanda, Tiruchi Shivaji, T. Raja ji, Rajiv ji, Professor Rangarajan ji. At the outset, as was mentioned by Shri Anand Sharma ji, I also wish to reiterate that there is absolutely no intention to dilute or to deviate from the Lokpal Act, which came into being in January 2014. The government stands by the Lokpal Act and is also committed to implement it in letter and spirit. And the exercise undertaken this evening should not be construed as directly or indirectly a tendency or inclination otherwise. Having said that, sir, and I also would agree with the honorable members who suggested that the message should also not go out that the honorable members in the House from across the party lines have joined together to get away from the provision of stating their assets. And it is also a fact, sir, that under the People's Representation Act, what we are declaring is much more than any other class of section or society. That is regardless of whether we have Lokpal Act or not. Particularly when one of us enters into an election, we are so conscious because your declaration goes to the opponent and you also run the risk of being disqualified by the returning officer. And therefore, why I am stating this, Deputy Chairman, sir, is just to reiterate that this exercise has been taken in an absolutely good faith with certain valid reasons, some of which are also technical. Just to go a little back into it, when the government took over in May 2014, we were keen to implement the Lokpal Act, which had come into force in January 2014. An exercise was also undertaken. But when we tried to deeply study it, we found that there were certain missing links which were coming in the way of making it workable, making it feasible. Just to cite one instance, for example, the selection committee for the appointment of Lokpal envisages that the leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha has to be a member. Now, as all of us know, in the 16th Lok Sabha, we don't have an acknowledged leader of opposition. And therefore, it was in all wisdom thought that an amendment should be brought in, suggesting that the leader of the largest opposition party should be a member. Likewise, there were a series of other amendments. For example, the tenure of the members had not been defined. And this amendment also was part of that. Now, a bill with the amendments was brought in the lower house in December 2014. And thereafter, on the suggestion of all the honorable members, sent to the standing committee. The standing committee report has come, and while it is still under consideration, suddenly this urgency has come, as has been pointed out by Honorable Anand Sharma ji and other members. This particular amendment has been necessitated by the fact that it is directly linked to the deadline of 31st July, which is just 2 days away. And it envisages declaration of assets by public servants, political functionaries, NGOs, some of which are running good educational institutions, as was suggested by Shri Rajiv Shukla ji. Some of them also running media houses, both the electronic and the print media. And therefore, many of them. And therefore, it was thought that the principal legislation which was placed before the standing committee and then came back and then the date of 31st July was suggested. So the government is of the opinion that since this law was framed after detailed consideration by the standing committee, we thought it would be in the fairness of things and also in the spirit of democracy. And considering we try to take all the stakeholders on the board, observations, inputs were sought to be obtained from across the sections of society, also from all the political parties and the representatives, also from honorable members from across the party lines. And the unanimous opinion that emerged was that this particular clause, and at the same time, even from the public servants, there were some issues as far as the declaration of asset is concerned, how has it to be done, whether the declaration of the assets of the spouse and the children also is to be required, and whether it has to be put into the public domain as has been suggested, and if yes, then to what extent. Similarly, also the NGOs also had certain issues. And therefore, it was considered in the fitness of thing. Now, the best option and the most democratic option was, because it was already in the form of a law, to go back to the standing committee.
I mean,
okay.
So it is such a simple thing,
That
sir.
is, yeah. No need of all these
And
explanations.
therefore, we
Everybody,
have decided to send it back to the standing
Yeah.
committee, because if I don't speak, then I'll be accused of having some
No.
prerogative. If I
Everybody
speak,
understands.
I am just saying,
Everybody understands.
sir,
Okay.
that is what I am saying.
No
that
need
the
of
most-
this explanation.
Yes.
No need of this explanation. Everybody has understood it is okay.
So that is why we are sending it back to the standing committee, and keeping the spirit of the house, we expect that it will be done expeditiously,
Yeah.
possibly before the next session of the parliament.
That is all the point. That it should come back before the next session, that's all.
Yes.